Okay, so hello everyone. This is Ashish Kedia, and now we are on to our chapter number 4, Unit 1. Chapter 4, dear students, has 3 units, right? Obviously, we'll start with Unit 1. The name of chapter 4 is Price Determination in Different Markets. So, as the name of the chapter itself suggests, here we will be talking about different bases on which markets can be classified, right? Yes. Moving on, as far as unit 1 is concerned, it has different types of markets. Unit 2 deals with the equilibrium behavior, and unit 3 again talks about types of markets in much more detail. So you can say unit 1 is kind of a prelude to the much more detailed unit 3, right? So let's start the game. And before we start, just remember that if you all are listening to the lectures, right? If you all are listening to the lectures, not 90, 100% you all are getting prepared for your examinations. Number one, whatever I'll be highlighting in yellow shade will represent the questions that have already appeared in the past examinations or have a higher chance of occurrence in the future examination. And lastly, we have a separate playlist wherein we are consistently uploading. In fact, in this playlist as well, you see there is always a separate video that is being uploaded to deal with MCQs, multiple choice questions, right? So accordingly, after watching every class, if you feel that okay, I wish I could practice MCQs with sir, then you see the next video. You will find out the, you know, MCQ practice in that forthcoming videos. Okay. So having said that, let's start our discussion. The name of the topic is price determination in different markets. Unit 1, meaning and types of markets. So students, naturally the first question that arises is, what is market? What is market? Friends, market is any place. Market is any place where buyers and sellers are able to interact and strike a deal, where buyers and sellers are able to meet and strike a deal regarding the price of the product and quantity to be bought and sold. Market did not be a physical place. Suppose one of your parents tell you to bring some fruits and vegetables from outside. So when they are asking you to do that, it's a physical place they are referring to. But at the same time, you can place the order for the same products online. So market is anywhere buyers and sellers are able to interact. It can be through online medium or it can be through physical, markets. That is, used in common parlance when we say market. Moving on. Moving on. Friends, there are different bases on which markets can be classified. Yes, I'll come back to the, you know, most important of all. So just pay attention, right? Markets can be classified on the basis of geographical area, on the basis of time, on the basis of nature of transaction, on the basis of regulation, on the basis of volume of business, and on the basis of type of competition. Before I indulge into this discussion, some of you might ask me that, sir, why have you skipped one page? Is it not that important? No, it is not, because whatever I'm going to discuss right now in the types will cover everything that is written in that single page, right? So just relax and follow the direction we are going forward in. Moving on. Types of markets on the basis of geographical area, right? On the basis of geographical area. Number one, pay attention everyone. So number one basis is geographical area. Number one's basis is geographical area. Types of markets on the basis of geographical area. See, number one is the local market. Number one is the local market. Your regular fruits and vegetables market that you step down your house and in your locality you find, that is local market. Particularly highly perishable goods like fruits and vegetables, we prefer to buy from local market, because otherwise, if you order through any other medium, it will take time to travel and the product may at the end be useless. So when buyers and sellers are limited to a local area or region, the market is called a local market. So when buyers or sellers both are located in a limited area, okay? Generally highly perishable goods and bulky articles. Yes, bulky means heavy articles. When they are transported over long distances, they become uneconomical, and therefore they are preferred to be purchased from a local market. Understood, sir? Sir, we have understood local market. Example is any local, you know, suppose you go for a haircut. You will not travel 500 kilometers or 5000 kilometers just for a haircut, right? So that is an example of local market. Understood, sir. So what is regional market, sir? Markets that are covering cities, that are basically covering cities, there there we talk about regional market. Sir, can you give us an example? Example is here, you know, Assamese sari, right? Is primarily worn by women in Assam and adjoining areas. So the women in that particular belt prefer to buy this. These are regional markets. They cover cities, they cover cities, they cover cities, and in fact sometimes states, cities and sometimes states. Understood, sir. So this is regional market. When the market is spread across multiple cities, then there is national market. When the product is demanded within the boundaries of a country anywhere, that is a national market. Just let me give you an example, na? Maybe Hindi book. So maybe somebody in Calcutta is wanting to read a Hindi book. The writer is located somewhere in the west, let's say in Mumbai. So they can just order that. That is a national market, which has mostly relevance within the own country. Within the country's perspective, it becomes relevant. That is national market. But when market or goods and services are not restricted to a particular country, they spread across. That is international market. Gold and silver. Today, the branded items that you purchase, right? You know, the Gucci's, the Armani's, Balenciaga, all these are basically branded items and they have an international market. Apple products, right? So that is it. So when you talk about local, regional, national, and international, in local you have the in local market you have the apple, the fruit that you eat, perishable item. In international you have the apple, the company whose products are considered luxurious. So from apple to apple we have covered all the types of markets, right? So I'll repeat again. Local market is restricted to a particular locality. Think of it this way, na? The place where you are staying, the place where you are residing, right? Anything around it that you buy, you know, you have guests at home, definitely you'll buy some sweets or some snacks you are going to buy. That is going to be within the vicinity of the area you reside in. That is local market. Regional market, if you kind of expand the boundaries of your district, if you spread across cities. Regional market, if a product is demanded throughout the country. National market. And international market is when it is borderless, when it becomes, when a product's relevance becomes borderless. Gold, silver, branded items, all these have international markets. Understood, sir. So now what we have discussed is types of markets on the basis of geographical area. Moving on. Now, on the basis of time, whenever we talk about time, Alfred Marshall needs to be remembered, because institute may ask you who classified markets on the basis of time. So remember, Alfred Marshall conceived the time element. Who? Alfred Marshall conceived the time element in markets. And now, how are markets categorized as per Marshall? Let's pay attention. Very short period market, long period market, very long or secular period. First of all, you got to remember there is very short period, long period, very long period, or secular period. Now, sir, please tell us one by one about each one of them. Okay, sir. When supply cannot be changed at all of any product, of any particular product, if the supply cannot be changed at all, that is, supply is fixed and it cannot be increased or decreased in a particular time frame, that is very short period market, or that is called market period. Sir, can you give us an example? Yes. Suppose I buy fruits from a local fruit seller. Immediately, if I tell that fruit seller that, okay, you only have 10 kgs of apples, I need 100, will that person be able to supply me immediately? No. Supply is fixed in such short period. Since supply is fixed, very short period is dependent on demand. An increase in demand will raise the prices, right? An increase in demand will raise the prices. I'll tell you why. Because supply is fixed. Suppose this calculator, there's only one in the market. Many need this calculator, but unfortunately in the very short time period. Let me give you an example. Okay. Okay. It's your exam day. You have forgot to carry the calculator. Somebody is sitting outside the examination hall, and there are five students who have forgotten their calculator. Now this person knows that since exam will start within 10 minutes, they don't have time to bring another calculator to sell to the students. So now they have one calculator. Maybe the price of this calculator is 400. They had planned to sell it for 500, but now this person sees that there are five students. Each one of them needs a calculator, and it is of such urgency that a student will definitely need calculator from me. So one may say that okay, 700, 800, 900, 1000 auction will start outside the examination center. Why? Because the supply is limited, but demand is by 5. Demand is 5 times the supply. So naturally, the price will rise. And only that person will get who has the maximum purchasing power. Understood, sir. So that is the concept that is being referred to here, right? But cutting things short, very short period generally happens in case of perishable commodities, because it's not possible to produce more of such commodities in the given time frame. Understood, sir. Very short period. So how should we remember very short period, sir? It refers to a time period in which supply cannot be changed at all, or supply is fixed. Full stop. Full stop. Understood, sir. What is short period? Short period, my dear students, is a time period which is slightly longer than very short period. Slightly longer than very short period. Here, supply may be increased by a little amount. You have studied about short period both in production and cost. When we were discussing the context of law of variable proportion, there you had studied that in short run you have two kinds of factors, fixed and variable. So while fixed factors are obviously constant, variable factors can be increased to some extent. An example could be you can ask employees to work overtime. Understood, sir. Understood, sir. So there are some fixed factors and some variable factors. So supply can be adjusted by a little amount. Supply can be adjusted by a little amount. Supply can be increased or decreased by a little. So maybe there is 2 hours left for examination. So the calculator seller might, bring in 4 or 5 more calculators. Understood, sir. Long period. Friends, this is such a time period where everything is variable. So supply can be changed by any amount. Supply may be fully adjusted to change in demand. There is no restriction whatsoever because all the factors of production are variable. You can buy more of machines, you can hire more of workers. If needed, you can ask the workers to work overtime. So every kind of flexibility you can think of, you will find here. Right. And this is where you see long run equilibrium price or normal price. Remember, long run equilibrium price is also called normal price. Okay. But then, sir, but then, sir, what is very long period? In very short period, you said supply cannot be changed at all. In short period, you said supply can be changed to some extent. Very long period, you said supply can change by any quantity, whatever the demand we can fulfill. But then, sir, what is very long period slash secular period? Friends, very long slash secular period means time gap of 20-25 years when the population, the average income of the population, the category of population, more male or more female, or which age of population, all the population dynamics, all the demographics change. When it is such huge time period we are dealing with, we call it as very long period slash secular period. Is one when secular movements are recorded in certain factors over a period of time. The period is very long. It includes the size of the population, capital supply, supply of raw materials, etc. Sir, we have understood this. Sir, we have understood this. So there are four things we have understood. Very short, no change in supply. Short period, some changes in supply, as some factors are fixed and some are variable. Long period, all the factors of production are variable. And very long period, here even the population dynamics change. Understood, sir. So, sir, we have classified markets on two bases as of now. Number one that we discussed was as per region or area, where we had studied local market, regional market, national market, international market. So it had four types as per locality. Then we moved to the next type where we classified on the basis of time period. Very short, short, long, very long. Again four types. Now we move on to on the basis of nature of transactions. Now we move to types of market on the basis of nature of transactions. Indeed an interesting one. Let's tell you how. There are two main types here. One is forward or future market and one is spot or cash market. Would you like an example? Okay, sir. Go ahead with an example. Let's say, okay, let's say there is a person A and there is another person B. Now, A is selling some goods. A is selling some goods. A is selling goods. A is selling goods at rupees 5,000. Okay. B is ready to pay. Let's say we are talking about a bag. Okay. Simple. We are talking about a bag that costs rupees 500. 5,000. I'm sorry. So A is selling that bag. B pays 500 and takes the possession of this bag. What you see here is a spot or cash market where the intention is to actually take delivery of goods. Here the intention was to actually take delivery of goods, and you see the goods have been actually delivered, and immediately goods and cash have changed hands. Understood, sir? Spot market refers to those markets where goods are exchanged for money either immediately or within a short frame. Let's say by tomorrow or within a week, I will pay you. This is a kind of agreement. So, whatever you are buying, okay, you have, across our country, we have Zomato, Blinkit, and so many other delivery platforms, Swiggy, so many delivery platforms, right? So, what we do there is we buy something and they basically deliver it to us. So, and the cash exchanges hands. That is a spot market. You go to a local retailer, you buy a packet of chips, you pay them money, or you tell them that okay, you are going to pay them 2 or 3 days later, and you pay them money. That is spot market we are talking about. Immediate. But what is forward or future market? Here is the interesting element. Let me tell you. What is a forward or a future market is basically, friends, contract is entered into today, but transaction takes place at a later date. Sir, we did not understand it really. Okay. In fact, what I'm explaining now, the same thing I'll be explaining in foreign exchange chapter in the macroeconomics portion as well. Nonetheless, let's come back to it here. Okay, let's come back to it here. Okay, let's go. Mm, okay, so Mr. A is an importer. Okay, Mr. A is an importer. Now, what Mr. A is doing is Mr. A is buying some goods from Mr. B, who is an exporter. Mr. B lives in US. Mr. A lives in India. Okay. Now what happens, everyone? Now what happens, everyone? Pay attention, everybody. Now what happens, everyone, is the person in US, the person in US is exporting goods. Okay. Let's say a decision has been made that goods worth rupees $10,000 are being traded. Okay, simple. Now, Mr. A, the importer, knows that delivery will take 3 months and payment has to be done 3 months later. Okay, 3 months later, payment has to be made. Now, Mr. A is afraid. What Mr. A is afraid of, let me tell you. Suppose $1 is 85 rupees today. Just assume. Mr. A is assuming and calculating that okay, even if I have to make a payment today, 85 into 10,000, because Mr. A is an Indian importer, so Mr. A is thinking in terms of rupee. So Mr. A is thinking that okay, my actual outflow is going to be rupees 8,50,000. Had I been paying today, but the agreement is to pay 3 months later. Now Mr. A is afraid that what if value of dollar rises and it becomes $1, maybe 95 rupees 3 months from now. In that case, despite US dollar being the product of that the price of that product being 10,000 US dollars, Mr. A would have to pay rupees 9,50,000. Yes. So Mr. A is, quite fearful of this eventuality. What Mr. A can do is, now comes the concept of forward or future market. What Mr. A does is, Mr. A enters into a contract with a authorized bank, authorized by RBI, with a authorized bank in India. For example's sake, let's assume HDFC. Okay, Mr. A enters into a contract with HDFC Bank. What is the contract pertaining to? That okay, Mr. A is going to buy dollars 3 months from now from HDFC Bank. So Mr. A will buy dollars 3 months from now, not today. But the price is decided today. Let's say bank says that okay, let's decide this at rupees 87 per dollar. You don't have to pay anything today. Okay, so 87 into 10,000 is 8,70,000. So Mr. A has to pay 8,70,000 not now, 3 months from now to HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank will give $10,000 to Mr. A, and Mr. A will give this $10,000 to Mr. B. By entering into this contract, Mr. A has entered into this contract today, but the execution of the same will take 3 months now. That is what is a forward or a future contract, where the intention is not to take delivery today, but it is for a future period. It is now the example that I gave just now is serving the hedging purpose. Hedging purpose means Mr. A has basically cut off all the risks. 3 months Mr. A might not sleep of the fear of rise in dollar value. But now, having entered into this contract, maybe at a price of 2 rupees higher, at least Mr. A is now, secured as to what he will be paying 3 months from now. Such a contract, dear students, is forward or future contract. Now, hedging is basically a means of avoiding risk. There are other reasons also: speculation, arbitrage. But I will not go into such kind of jumbo risks now, because it's not needed. Understood? So forward or future contract is a one where settlement takes place at a later date, but the contract is signed today for the transaction to take place at a later date. So that is forward or future contract. Let's read it out. In this market, transaction involves contract with a promise to pay and deliver goods at some future date. Just the example I cited above, right? Yes sir, we do agree. Yes sir, we do agree. For example, purchase of foreign currency contract at future date from a bank. Okay, so we have classified markets on three bases. As per region, there were four types: local, regional, national, international. Then as per time, very short, short, long, very long. On the basis of volume of not the volume of transaction, on the basis of nature of transactions, spot, that is immediate settlement, and forward, future settlement. Moving on the basis of regulation is what we are going to talk about next. Sir, what is the types of market on the basis of regulation? Friends, there are two types. One is regulated market and the other one is unregulated market. Sir, what is regulated market? Basically, where there is a regulator. For example, in stock exchanges, when you are trading, all of you know that SEBI is a regulator. So basically, there is a top body, apex body, which is looking into the functionalities of the different organizations under it. That is regulated market. Transactions are statutory regulated, means regulated under a law. And unregulated market is which is not regulated by anyone. A weekly market, weekly in your area some product is being sold, nobody is going to regulate it. That is unregulated market. Understood, sir? Next is on the basis of volume of business. A very important point. On the basis of volume of business, right? Okay, remember, stock exchange is a regulated market, don't forget, and weekly market is a unregulated market. Now coming back to the topic, on the basis of volume of business. So friends, if a middleman is buying in large quantity, that middleman is a wholesaler. The wholesale market is the market where commodities are bought and sold in large quantities. They are B2B transactions because generally the wholesaler buys from manufacturer who is a business and sells it to a retailer who is again a business. Retail market is the one which interacts with ultimate consumers. And since the ultimate consumer buys in small quantity, retail market deals in small quantities. Sir, understood. A really easy point, sir. Understood, sir. And on the basis of competition, we have two kinds of markets: perfectly competitive market and imperfectly competitive market. Now, we are going to talk about perfectly and imperfectly competitive market in rather lesser details in unit 1, but they will be in lot of details in unit 3, and both we have to study. So now we come to the different types of market structures. Okay, we talk about different types of market structures. So let's go ahead, friends. There are four that we particularly talk about. We talk about perfect competition, monopolistic competition, monopoly, oligopoly. Because unit 1 demands lesser discussion on this part, I will do a lesser discussion on this portion. But don't get agitated that okay sir, but in 11 12 we did it in great details. As I had mentioned twice or thrice before, that in unit 3 when we are going to study, we are going to study that in great depth, which you are expecting me to do. Okay, but let's talk about each of them: perfect competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopoly. Let's go about it. See, let's talk about perfect competition first. Dear students, perfect competition in reality doesn't exist. It is just for the sake of theory. It is just for the sake of understanding that utopian world point that we are studying this. Otherwise, it doesn't exist in reality. Okay? Yes, sir. Understood, sir. So now, perfect competition is a market which has very large number of buyers and sellers. Very large means infinitely large. Very large number of buyers and sellers. Right? And guess what kind of products they are selling? They are selling homogeneous products. Do you know what homogeneous means? Homogeneous means products are exactly same. Means no two buyers, no two sellers are selling products which have even a little bit of difference. They are same in terms of size, they are same in terms of brand, they are same in terms of color, they are same in terms of content, they are same in terms of discount, they are same in terms of warranty, they are same in terms of guarantee. Every possible way they are same, and this in reality is not possible. That is why we say perfect competition is a kind of utopian world point. Right, moving on. What is the price elasticity of demand of a firm here? Here price is constant. Who decides the price in perfect competition? Market. Here price is constant. And you know, price is constant, but there are many buyers, and therefore demand changes at a single price. And that is why we say infinite elasticity. Do not forget we have studied demand. Understood, sir. So elasticity is infinite. And degree of price control over price? None. Seller has no control over price. You know why? Because who decides the price? What did I say? Market forces decide the price. So a very good MCQ can be, who decides the price in a perfect competitive market? So remember, in a perfectly competitive market, it is the market forces that decide. Market forces of demand and supply. Okay, so suppose this is the demand curve, this is the supply curve. There is definitely a point at which demand and supply become equal. That is the price prevailing in the market, and it's called price mechanism. Obviously, there is more to talk about perfect competition, but as per the demands of this unit, we restrict our discussion till here only. Sir, what is monopolistic competition? See, the other three types of market, they are possible in reality. Okay. Now, monopolistic competition is a market where there are large number of sellers, large number of buyers, and there is some differentiation in price. I will give you an example. Monopolistic competition example I'll give you. Uh, Fast moving consumer goods industry. Uh, Let's talk about soap, detergents. Okay, let's talk about shoes. There are many shoe manufacturers, there are many shoe sellers, and each one of them is trying to show. For example, Adidas is trying to show its product better than Puma or Nike or Woodland or Bata, and others are also trying to do so. So therefore, it's product differentiation, slight product differentiation. At the end, all of them are selling shoes only, right? Price elasticity of demand is large. You know why price elasticity is large? The reason behind large elasticity in monopolistic competition is number of sellers. So if one seller kind of tries to go rogue, tries to do whatever they wish, like, buyers will immediately shift their demand to other sellers because buyers have this option. And in the chapter of demand factors affecting elasticity, I had explained you all that whenever buyers are able to change demand as per their will and wish, elasticity is going to be high. Exactly what we see here. Degree of control over price, yes. In monopolistic competition, each one have their own brand names. So yes, to show that their brand identity is different, they may charge a different price for their product. Okay? Yes, sir. Next, what about oligo? Yes, go ahead. Okay. So, okay. So pay attention, everyone. First, let's discuss oligopoly and then I'll revise everything once again. Okay. So now, oligopoly. Oligopoly, dear students, is a market where there are very small number of sellers. First of all, let's talk about oligopoly. Oligopoly is a market where there is very small number of sellers. Is it possible in reality that a market has very small number of sellers? Yes, I can definitely give you an example as well. So, sir, give the example. Market with very small number of sellers. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Aircraft manufacturers. You see, aircraft is generally manufactured by Boeing. Then there is Airbus, who manufactures aircraft. So see, very few sellers. Oligopoly market, few sellers. Is there product differentiation? In some kind, see, there are different types of oligopoly. So there can be some oligopolies like iron and steel industry, right? For example, Jindal Steel, they are supplying steel. Tata Steel, they are also supplying steel. In steel, there is no difference. So there may be no difference in the products. And in some cases, like Boeing and Airbus, there might be quite a lot of difference between the two products. So none too substantial. Elasticity of demand of a firm here is small. You know why? Because there are very few sellers. Customers cannot, as per their will and wish, change their demand as they want. Right, sir. And degree of control over price, oligopoly, some, because each seller is deciding their own price, so they can have a control over their price, but they also have to see what competitors are charging, and that is why I have written some. Moving on, what is a monopoly market, sir? When there is only one seller in the market. Indian Railways, government is the owner of Indian Railways, that is a monopoly market when there is only one seller. And product differentiation can be extreme, yes. It extreme product differentiation means the product has no close substitute. You see, Indian Railway has no close substitute. You cannot consider aeroplane as a substitute of railways. You cannot consider going by road, going by car or bus as a substitute of railways. No, you cannot, I am sorry. Elasticity of demand is very small here. You know why? Because customers have no other alternative. And since customers have no other alternative, a monopolist has high control over their price, because nobody is going to do anything, because monopolist is the single seller in the market. So monopolist in itself is the industry, monopolist itself is the firm, and monopoly itself is the industry. So in case of monopoly, firm is equals to industry. Understood, sir. Now, let's revise each one of the concepts once again so that things are clearer to you all. We are now discussing different types of markets on the basis of market structure, on the basis of market structure, or on the basis of number of sellers. So what I said is, for perfect competition, There are very large number of sellers and it doesn't exist in reality. There is no market in reality, dear students, which is clear cut example of perfect competition. Moving on, product differentiation. Yes, there is no product differentiation here. Products are homogeneous, means exactly 100% the same. Product sold by seller A is equal to the products sold by seller B. Price elasticity of demand is infinite. What does it mean, sir? That price elasticity of demand is infinite means despite negligible change in price, demand can change by huge quantity and therefore price elasticity of demand is infinite. And what is the degree of control over price? In perfect competition, sellers have no control over their price, over the price of their products. Understood, sir. So this is what was all about perfect competition. Sir, once again, can you revise monopolistic competition with us? Definitely. Monopolist example is FMCG, fast mover consumer goods, fast moving consumer goods. Okay, you can say soap, detergents. Apart from that, shoes. There are many sellers of shoes. So number of sellers is large in monopolistic competition. Product differentiation is slight because all the shoe sellers are ultimately selling shoes. But why there is slight differentiation? Because they are trying to show that their brand is different. They are trying to show that their product is better. Their color options are different. The feel of their product is different. So some kind of differentiation they are trying to bring in. Price elasticity of demand of firms is large. Why, sir? Because there are many sellers in the market. So consumers have a lot of option to shift to different sellers and therefore large monopolist, large elasticity. Degree of control over price, they have some control over price. Why? Because see, they have independent brand identity. They have individual brand recognition like Adidas, Puma, Nike, Woodland and Bata and so many. So they have this brand identity, but they also have to keep in mind that they have competition. This is why some is written because they have their own brand. They can decide their price. That is why some kind of control. But they also have to keep in mind that they have competition. So they cannot be charging something which is very different, which is away from at a price which is away from their competition. That is why you see the price of products like Puma, Adidas, Nike are almost same. 5,000, 10,000 here and there, but they are almost the same. This is why. Oligopoly market, as I said, dear students, is a market characterized by very small number of sellers. They have products in some cases where there is no difference. Iron and steel. If two oligopolies sell iron and steel, Jindal Steel and Tata Steel, is there any difference between steel? No. But in case of aircrafts, there can be high difference. Price elasticity of demand is small because there are very few sellers, so customers have not do not have multiple options to shift their demand, right? Degree of control over price, again some, because they are also interdependent on other firms. Coca-Cola is seeing what Pepsi is doing. If Pepsi is launching a can bottle, a can, Coca-Cola is also launching a can. That is what I'm trying to say. Monopoly, there is only one seller with extreme product differentiation. There is no close substitute. The elasticity of demand is very small. You know why? Because consumers have no other option only. Where will they go? Even if they don't want to buy the product from this particular person. Understood, sir? Understood, sir? And eventually, friends, they have very high control over price of their products. Understood, sir? Sir, we have indeed understood this. We have indeed understood this. Right, sir. Right, sir. Right, sir. Now, coming on to this topic, concepts of total revenue, average revenue, and marginal revenue. Concepts of total revenue, average revenue, and marginal revenue. Let's talk about it one by one. Okay, one by one. Let's talk about it. Okay, pay attention, friends. Friends, total revenue is equal to price into quantity. Okay, price of a product into quantity sold of a product. So that is total revenue. Simple. So you can say total revenue is nothing but total sales. I will agree. So suppose I am selling 100 units at rupees 5 per unit of a product, anything. So my total revenue would be 500 rupees then. That is exactly what the concept of total revenue tells us. Okay, now total revenue is price into quantity. What is average revenue? Friends, average revenue is total revenue divided by quantity. So if, let's say, I am selling, my total revenue is 500 and I am selling 100 units, so my average revenue is 5 per unit. But sir, average revenue is 5 and price was also 5 per unit. So are you telling us that average revenue equals to price? Yes. No matter which market you are in, average revenue is always equal to price. No matter which market you are in, average revenue is always equal to price. Remember this. And sir, what is marginal revenue? See, total revenue is the total sales value. Average revenue is the price, that is price per unit of a product. What is marginal revenue? Friends, marginal revenue is the change in total revenue. What is marginal revenue? Friends, marginal revenue is the change in total revenue, is the change in total revenue due to one additional unit sold. Due to one additional unit sold. Sir, we did not understand what you are trying to convey. Let me highlight it for you. Just a moment. Let's say one unit I am selling and my total revenue is 10. For 2 units, my total revenue is, let's say, 22. For 3 units, my total revenue is, let's say, 36. 36. So friends, marginal revenue is the change in total revenue. For the first unit, total revenue and marginal revenue are always same, much like cost. So for the first unit, TR and MR are same. For the first unit, TR and MR are same. In fact, in costs, there are some changes. So forget about cost. Just remember here that here for every unit, TR and MR are same. So if you say sell one quantity, TR is 10, marginal revenue is also 10. But now you see, when you sell an additional unit, the change in total revenue is by how much? By 12. Welcome to marginal revenue. When you sell another unit, your total revenue changes by 14. That is marginal revenue. So marginal revenue is nothing, but I can say marginal revenue for any unit is total revenue of that unit minus total revenue of one lesser unit. For example, marginal revenue of third unit will be total revenue earned from 3 units minus total revenue earned from 2 units. Remember, if in exam you get additional word anywhere, the answer would be marginal. One more thing you want to know? Yes, sir. One more thing we want to know. Whenever you differentiate total revenue, whenever you differentiate total revenue, whenever you differentiate total revenue, you get marginal revenue. In fact, in maths, we study also derivative of total is marginal. 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 Remember this, remember this, remember this, everyone. Understood, sir. Sir, we have understood this. So what is marginal revenue? Change in total revenue by change in total quantity. Change in total revenue by change in total quantity. Sir, we have indeed understood this. Can we move forward, sir? Definitely we can. Just a few things to remember. Total revenue is sum total of marginal revenue. Meaning what, sir? That suppose at 5 units, suppose at 5 units, I want to find out the total revenue. Suppose you don't know this total revenue, let's, erase it. So friends, what you got to do is, you got to add up marginal revenues till that point. So let's say 10 plus 8 is 18, 24, 28, 30. So total, so when you add all the marginal revenues till this point, you naturally end up with total revenue. Remember one thing, whenever total revenue is maximum, please remember this, marginal revenue will be zero. A very important MCQ question. Whenever total revenue is maximum, marginal revenue equals to zero. Whenever total revenue is maximum, marginal revenue equals to zero. Okay. In fact, there is a graph which institute has rightly shown. Okay. So here is the graph. Here is the graph. See, when TR is maximum, MR is touching the axis. So when TR is maximum, MR is touching the axis. Understood, sir. Understood, sir. Sir, we observe something, that total revenue rises first and then starts falling. Why so, sir? Because friends, when you start changing the price of your products, the quantity demanded starts falling, and therefore this relation. In perfect competition, if you were talking to me in perfect competition there is no change. So there is a total revenue curve is exactly like this. But this is perfect competition. Why? Because in perfect competition, price remains constant because there are many buyers and sellers, so there is no change in price. Price remains constant. But in other markets, oligopoly, monopoly, monopolistic competition, in order to sell more, price is reduced. Okay, sir. Understood, sir. And therefore, in imperfect competition, as I was telling, you experience a curve like this, where revenue increases up to a certain point. Beyond that, it starts falling. Understood, sir. And both MR and AR fall. AR is nothing but price. So obviously, if price is falling, demand curve will be downward sloping. MR curve is also falling. MR curve also falls. Remember, MR curve also falls. But then, but then, this is an important statement to remember. MR curve lies below AR curve, showing that marginal revenue declines more rapidly than average revenue. Remember, the general rule is that the slope of marginal revenue is 2 times the slope of average revenue. That is, the change in marginal revenue is at a faster pace. With whatever pace average revenue is changing, marginal revenue will change the double the pace. Now let's kind of take a question and have a discussion on the same. Okay, suppose, let me highlight it for you. Just give me a moment and let's analyze this graph. Remember, this graph is, or this table rather, is for imperfect competition, that is for monopoly and monopolistic competition. But sir, how could you figure this out? How did you find this out? Because dear students, average revenue is price, and when price is falling, that can only happen in imperfect competition, because in perfect competition prices remain constant. Acha, understood. Now look. Average revenue is price. So when 1 unit was being sold, price was 10. When 9 rupees is the charge, 2 units are being sold. So 1 into 10 is 10, 2 into 9 is 18. Again, price reduced to 8, 3 units sold. 3 into 8 is 24. 4 into 7 is 28. So you are understanding na, what we are doing is, this is average revenue slash price, this is total revenue, which is price into quantity, this is quantity, and this is eventually marginal revenue. Now friends, observe something which no one does. I will show it to you. You see, average revenue is changing by 1 unit, by 1 rupee. Marginal revenue is changing by 2 rupee, the double. Again, from 9 to 8, average revenue changing by 1 rupee. Marginal revenue from 8 to 6, that is by 2 rupee. So you see, MR is falling at a faster rate, and the slope of MR is double the slope of AR. And that is why you see in this diagram, MR curve is below AR curve. Now your question would be, but sir, why is it happening? Friends, the reality is, marginal revenue only captures the change in total revenue due to one additional unit. When we talk about average, average takes into account all the units sold so far. That is why average falls but at a slower pace. But marginal is considering only one unit. That is why it falls at a faster pace. Think of this. Think of it this way. Okay, think of it this way. You decide to go for a trip, let's say on a trek, on a mountainous trek. Okay. Now, when you go for trekking, that is mountain climbing, if you're doing it alone, you will generally do it at a faster pace compared to when you are taking your entire family, your cousins, and your friends, and everyone. Yes or no? So, when you are considering everyone, the change will be slow. That is why AR considers everyone. AR is like a family man. MR, marginal revenue, is like a lone survivor. So MR changes at a faster pace because MR is alone. AR considers everyone, and therefore AR changes at a slower pace. Can MR be 0? Yes. Can MR be negative? Yes. But can AR be 0? AR is basically price. AR means average revenue. It is basically price. Can you, sell a product for free? No. Can AR be negative? No. AR negative means price negative. Means if somebody comes to your shop, They buy a product, you give them product as well as some money. What kind of brilliant world are we talking about? And therefore, AR cannot be negative, AR cannot be zero, MR can be zero, MR can be negative. When is MR zero? When TR is maximum. When does MR becomes negative? MR becomes negative when TR falls. As soon as TR falls, MR becomes negative. So many important points to discuss here. So many MCQs. MCQ number one. What changes at a faster pace, MR or AR? MR changes at a faster rate. What is the relation between slope of MR and slope of AR? Slope of MR is 2 times slope of AR. Number 2. Number 3. When TR is max, MR is 0. Number 4. When TR falls, MR becomes negative. Number 5. Number 5. Under perfect competition, prices remain same. Number 6. Under imperfect competition, to sell more, prices have to be reduced. 6 MCQs from a single concept I have discussed. Understood, sir. Understood, sir. Now, sir, this is for perfect competition. You see why? Because in perfect competition, price remains fixed. So there is no change whatsoever. The demand curve is much like this. Understood, sir. Understood, sir. Another interesting point to consider here is relationship between MR and AR. Friends, there is an equation, a very important one. Institute has always asked this. This is institute's favorite equation, one may say. What is the equation? MR equals to AR into E minus 1 by E. MR equal to AR into E minus 1 by E. MR equal to AR into E minus 1 by E. MR is equals to AR into E minus 1 by E. E is elasticity of demand, definitely. So if elasticity is 1, you see, MR equals to 0. If elasticity is greater than 1, MR is positive, and if elasticity is less than 1, MR will be negative. Indeed, a very important portion, the most important, if you may, from this particular portion, and this formula is very important, has come in exam, will come in exam. It's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. It will come in exam. MR equals to AR into E minus 1 by E. Understood, sir. Understood, sir. Understood, sir. Okay, sir. Moving on, friends. Moving on, friends. Behavioral principles. For whom is this behavioral principles prescribed, sir? It is from the seller's point of view, right? A firm should not produce at all if total variable costs are not met. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. A very important question here is being discussed. This means minimum average variable cost is equals to shutdown price, the price at which firm ceases production in the short run. The price at which shutting down is temporary and does not necessarily mean going out of business. Now, let me explain what is being discussed here. Friends, please try and understand, okay? Let's say we are talking about a short run period where price is the sum of average variable cost and average fixed cost. Just assume. Suppose average variable cost per unit is 2 rupees and average fixed cost per unit is 3 rupees. So my total price is 5 rupee, which ideally I should have charged to avoid any loss. Now, what this point is saying is that even if I have to sell at a price of 2 rupees, I can. You know why? Because average fixed cost is something that even if I shut down operations, shutdown means not permanent closing. Shutdown means for temporarily I stop doing business. Then also my fixed cost will still be incurred. And so this 3 rupees will continue to be incurred. So it is immaterial. It is irrelevant to decision making. It is a shutdown cost. Sorry, it is a sunk cost. It is irrelevant to decision making. But at least I should be able to earn this 2 rupees. But suppose if I am able to sell at only 1 rupee, then imagine, no, by producing more, loss of fixed cost I was bearing already. In fact, 2 rupees on variable cost I am incurring and only 1 I am able to make. So now I have added more to my losses in the form of variable cost. So at least one should be able to cover the variable costs. If price is greater than minimum average variable cost but less than ATC, the firm covers some portion of variable cost but not all of fixed cost, which is okay, do business. If price is equals to average total cost, very good. The firms cover both and earns normal profits or zero economic profits, very good. If price is greater than ATC, then it is super normal profits or positive economic profits. But if the minimum average variable cost is equal to shutdown price, the price at which firm ceases production in the short run. This is very important. Remember this, page 1 4.13, very important. Understood, sir. Very, very important, friends. Higher chances of occurrence in exam. Next, when will the firm maximize profits? When MR equal to MC, when marginal revenue equals to marginal cost. Sir, what does it mean? Means I should continue production till the point every additional unit that I sell, I am able to recover the additional costs incurred. But if marginal cost is, see, if marginal cost is becoming greater than marginal revenue, I should stop production. You know why? Because my additional costs are greater than my additional profits or additional revenue. If MR is greater than MC, I should definitely continue production. But till what point? Till MR equal to MC. So what is the two behavioral principles saying? To conclude, in very short language, the two behavioral principles are saying, number one should produce only when price is greater than or equal to average variable cost. If not, stop production. Number one. Number two, profit is maximized when MR equals to MC. And what if price is less than AVC? Stop production, stop production, stop production, shut down. Shut down means, does not mean permanent discontinuance. It's only a temporary measure. When price equals to average variable cost, we are at shutdown price. We call it shutdown price. We call it shutdown price. Shutdown price because it is immaterial whether the firm continues to do business or doesn't. Losses are fixed costs. Understood, sir. Sir, these are very important areas. You got to remember this. And guess what, dear students? Unit 1 we have been able to complete. Right, sir. Okay. So, friends, let's go. Now we move on to Unit 2, determination of prices. Sir, what exactly does this unit deal with? Friends, first of all, just remember one thing and then only I'll be able to, move forward. This unit is the easiest of your entire economic syllabus. This is my assurance. Easiest of all. You just need to ensure three things. Number one, you remember I told you all that in perfect competition, price does not change, price remains fixed. In perfect competition world, price doesn't change, price remains fixed. Price doesn't change, price remains fixed. Price doesn't change, price remains fixed. Number one. Number two. Number two. Number two. You have studied the movement and shift concepts of demand and supply. Obviously, I'll revise it, but if you know these two things, two main concepts, you are good to go in this particular class, right? Friends, just pay attention. Let me draw for you the original case in perfect competition. Friends, what happens is that in perfect competition, prices are decided at a point where demand is equals to supply. So suppose this is the demand curve, a downward sloping curve as you see in the graph, a supply curve, upward sloping curve. At a particular price, definitely demand is going to be equal to supply. Friends, the price at which this takes place, price at which this takes place, price at which this takes place is the equilibrium price, and the quantity at this point is the equilibrium quantity. Understood this much? Yes, sir. Now what do I tell you all? Friends, now what I am telling you all is that whenever there is an increase in supply, there is a rightward shift of supply curve. As you can see here, there is a rightward shift of supply curve. As you can see, there is a rightward shift of supply curve whenever there is an increase in supply. Yes, sir, we have indeed discussed that. And remember, whenever there is a decrease in supply, there is a leftward shift of supply curve. You got to remember these things, friends. You got to remember these things, friends. Okay, sir. And again, if you talk from the perspective of demand, what we need to remember is that when we talk from the perspective of demand, if this is the demand, this is the supply, and this is the equilibrium point and equilibrium quantity, equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Now, friends, what I tell you all is, if this is the equilibrium price and this is the equilibrium quantity, then when there is an increase in demand, always remember the shortcut trick is, whenever there is an increase in something, there is a rightward shift. Whenever there is a decrease in something, there is a leftward shift. Full stop. So friends, if there is an increase in demand, friends, if there is an increase in demand, then there is a rightward shift. Then there is a rightward shift. So if this is the demand curve, and if there is an increase in demand, then there is a rightward shift. And if there is a decrease in demand, there is a leftward shift. If there is a decrease in demand, there is a leftward shift. Understood, sir? Sir, we have indeed understood this much. Now, having understood this much, friends, let's talk about things. First thing I need to remind you all is, because, sir, why are you telling all these things about demand and supply in this chapter? You will soon realize that this chapter is magical. Pay attention. One more thing I wanted to discuss. Have a look. Friends, if this is the demand, if this is the supply, then when demand equals to supply, what you end up getting is a equilibrium price and a equilibrium quantity. What you end up getting is a equilibrium price and a equilibrium quantity. Here it is. Equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Understood, sir? Yes, sir. Now, if a seller, maybe a seller decides that okay, we are going to charge lesser than this. If a seller decides that they are going to charge lesser than the equilibrium, then what happens is, when price is set lesser than the equilibrium price, if this is demand and this is supply, then obviously demand curve is greater than supply. This difference is called excess demand. This difference is called excess demand. This difference is called excess demand. Why this difference is called excess demand? Because you see, demand is here, supply is here. And whenever there is excess demand in the market, remember something. Whenever there is excess demand in the market, price is going to rise. Just learn this. Whenever there is going to be excess demand in the market, prices are going to rise. Remember this. Whenever there is excess demand in the market, prices are going to rise. Whenever there is excess demand in the market, prices are going to rise. Whenever there is excess demand in the market, prices are going to rise. Remember this. And whenever there is excess supply in the market, you see, let me take a price P2, huh? Let me take a price P2. Let me take a price P2. Now, when you are at price P2, everyone please pay attention. When you are at price P2, have a look. You see, there is excess supply that you see here. There is excess supply that you see here. Whenever you see, whenever you charge the price as P2, there is always excess supply that you see. With this quantity, by this quantity, there is excess supply. There is excess supply. Friends, whenever there is excess supply in the market, in order to sell off the surplus units, the producers will reduce the price. So a shortcut to remember is, whenever there is excess demand, producers will be forced to increase the price. Whenever there is excess supply, producers will be forced to reduce the price. Full stop. Registered this much? Yes, sir. Now, what kind of questions you will get from this particular chapter? The questions institute will ask is that due to something in demand increased, so what will happen to the equilibrium? Whether the equilibrium price will rise, fall, equilibrium quantity will rise, fall, remain unchanged, what is going to happen? I will teach you two methods. Number one is graph. Let's begin our journey. Let's begin our journey, okay? Instead of, going through so much of discussion, just let's attack the topic. This is purely practical topic. And that's why I enjoy teaching it a lot. See, suppose it is a normal commodity and there is increase in the income of consumer. There is increase in income of consumer. The question examiner is asking you is, how will equilibrium price and how will equilibrium quantity change? Since there is increase in income of the consumer, how will equilibrium price and quantity change? Now they have given you multitude of options. I will tell you, see, simple logic. If there is increase in income of the consumer, other factors remaining constant, you all know when income increases, demand increases, quantity demanded increases when there is a rise in income. Yes or no? Yes, sir. So let's say this is demand. Let's say this is supply. This is equilibrium price, okay, and this is equilibrium quantity. Done. This is equilibrium price and this is equilibrium quantity. Now have a look, everyone. Now have a look, everyone. This is equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. This is demand curve, this is supply curve. My point to you is, now my point to you is, pay attention, everyone. What they ask you is, if there is increase in income of the consumer, demand is going to rise. So there is a rightward shift of the demand curve. Always, first you draw this original condition, the OG condition I call it. Demand and supply. Original condition, the OG condition. Now you read the question. There is increase in income of consumer. Means demand will shift rightwards. And now you see what is happening. The new demand and the new supply are intersecting here because supply was same as before. So the intersection is taking place in this format. So naturally, friends, the equilibrium price is rising and equilibrium quantity is also rising. Question answered. So the answer will be both will rise. Oh my God, is it this easy, sir? Yes, it is this easy. Understood, sir. Understood, sir. And there can be multiple questions they may ask, but this is the crux of things that we discussed. Okay, sir, can you discuss some other questions as well? Definitely, I am going to. I just gave you an example where there was increase in demand. Now, institute may ask you a question from decrease in demand, or maybe price of complementary goods. Price of complementary goods increase. When price of complementary goods increase, you all know that quantity demanded of the product goes down. Yes or no? Yes, sir. So friends, when we draw the curves, when we draw the curves, that is the demand and the supply curves, when we draw the demand and the supply curves, pay attention, everyone. This is the demand curve, original demand curve. This is the original supply curve. This is the equilibrium price. Just a minute, na? And this is the original equilibrium quantity. Friends, what I am telling you all now is, what I am telling you all now is, this is the original equilibrium price and quantity. Now, decrease in demand. It is because when price rises, demand falls. So there is a decrease in demand. This is the demand curve. So whenever there is a decrease in demand, there is a leftward shift. Let me do it. Make a parallel shift, huh? What I have done here is a slightly, yes, now it's okay. So demand curve has shifted to the left. Now see they are intersecting here. So equilibrium price has also fallen, equilibrium quantity has also fallen. You have got your answer. Wow, very good, sir. Now let's move on to the third question. What happens when there is an increase in supply? Friends, a very easy case. Increase in supply takes place when profit margin rises, when price of raw material falls. Because remember, increase decrease takes place due to other factors, own price remaining constant in all the cases. Yes, so a factor that may cause increase in supply is fall in price of raw materials, increase in subsidies given by the government. Yes, in such a scenario, let's see what happens. Always plot the OG condition, demand curve, supply curve. Question is, what will happen to the equilibrium price quantity once government starts giving them subsidies? We will come to that later on. First of all, let's plot it, right? First of all, let's plot it this much at least. Okay. So here it is. This is the equilibrium price and this is the equilibrium quantity. Understood? Now pay attention, everyone. Now what is happening is, what they tell us is there is an increase in supply. So if there is an increase in supply, because cost of production has fallen, supply curve will shift to the right. You see, I have shifted it to the right. Now you see they are intersecting here. Because the demand curve remains the same, there is a new supply curve in town. Ah, so intersection is taking place here. So you see equilibrium price is falling, but equilibrium quantity is rising. So we will tell equilibrium price will fall and equilibrium quantity will rise. Understood, sir? And what if there is a decrease in supply? Friends, if there is a decrease in supply, again I'll plot the diagram. But sir, is there any method to do it even without changing the diagram? Yes, there is. I will definitely discuss that. But first things first. I'll I'll definitely discuss that, huh? So here is the price. Here is the quantity condition, right? This is the original supply, original demand, the OG condition as we call it. Equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Now, decrease in supply can be attributed to multiple reasons. Government increases taxes, indirect taxes, supply will fall. Government reduces subsidy, supply will fall. Price of raw material rises, wages rises. Climate is unfavorable, supply will fall. Leftward shift, you see I have shifted it to the left. So what happens is the equilibrium price is going to rise and equilibrium quantity is going to fall. All the four cases covered. Sir, what if there is a change in both demand and supply? Won't you discuss such conditions? Of course I will. But before I discuss that, we have understood using graphs how to understand the change in equilibrium price and quantity. What if, sir, there was no graphs? Let me teach you then. An increase in demand. See, you take one hand as demand. Okay, let's do a little bit of dancing in the class. You see, this is the demand curve, this is the demand curve, right? This is the supply curve. Okay, so this hand is demand, this hand is supply. Now there is increase in demand, left hand was demand. So if there is increase in demand, you see a little bit of dance. So demand is above supply, so there is excess demand, so there is excess demand. And whenever there is excess demand, what did we discuss? Whenever there will be excess demand, producers will be forced to increase the price of their products. You got it? So equilibrium price is going to rise whenever there is excess demand. And this is what was the answer. But sir, what about quantity, equilibrium quantity? See, there is increase in demand, supply is constant. So on an average, quantity is rising. Always think of average when you think of quantity. Quantity is constant, demand is rising. So on an average, quantity is rising. So equilibrium quantity is going to rise. Answer given. Wow, sir. Decrease in demand. Again, bring the hands together. Demand and supply. Demand decreases. Now there is excess supply. Whenever there is excess supply, producers will be forced to sell off this excess supply by reducing the prices. Price fell. But since overall quantity has fallen, because see, at the end of the day, demand has fallen, supply has remained intact. So on an average, there is a decrease in quantity. So equilibrium quantity is going to fall. Answered. It doesn't get easier than this. Come on. What if there is an increase in supply? Again, left hand demand, right hand supply. Increase in supply. Supply is upward. So when there is a rise in supply, there is excess supply. Whenever there is excess supply, equilibrium price is forced to be reduced. But since there is an increase in supply, overall there is an increase in quantity, so quantity will rise. Sir, we have understood this, sir. It's very easy, sir. What if there is a decrease in supply? Friends, if there is a decrease in supply, this is demand, this is supply. Friends, if there's a decrease in supply, you see, tuck, decrease in supply, decrease in supply. Demand is upward, price is going to rise. But you see what is happening? Overall quantity is falling because demand is intact, supply is falling. Overall equilibrium quantity is going to fall. Come on, tell me, does it get easier than this? What if there is simultaneous changes in both? Because what you did was, sir, standalone changes. That when you changed demand, you did not change supply. Again, it's very easy. Let's discuss it, na? Let's discuss it. Let's discuss simultaneous changes. Any simultaneous change would do. Let me take an example, na? Let's see. Case number one. When increase in demand is equal to increase in supply. I will not draw any diagram. Though you can draw, but I will not draw. And let's see. See, demand and supply are here. Demand increased, supply also increased by the same amount. Demand, supply. Demand increased, supply increased. Both are increasing by the same amount. So they are again at the same level. If they are at the same level, is there any excess demand? No. Is there any excess supply? No. So will the equilibrium price change? No. No change in equilibrium price. Oh my God. But wait. No change in equilibrium price. No change in equilibrium price. But wait. Demand has also increased, supply has also increased. So on an average, so on an average, so on an average, what has happened? On an average, what has happened? Sir, on an average, sir, on an average, quantity has risen. So equilibrium quantity is going to rise. And you see that is what is being showcased here. This was the original quantity. This was the original price. You see equilibrium price. Let me use a red color. See, equilibrium price has remained the same, but equilibrium quantity has increased. Wow, sir, magical. This trick is magical, sir. Yes, I told you, if you listen to the class, you will discover magic. Next, figure 12b shows increase in demand is more than increase in supply. Without seeing the diagram, I will tell you. Demand, supply. Increase in demand is more than increase in supply. So demand has increased, but supply has increased little. Demand is ahead. There is excess demand. Whenever there is excess demand, equilibrium prices rise. So whenever there is excess demand, what happens to equilibrium price? Come on, guys. Equilibrium prices rise. But overall, there is an increase in both. Overall, there is an increase in both. So equilibrium quantity is also going to rise. And see that this is what they would have done. See, price from P to P1, quantity from Q to Q1. Wow, sir. Really magical. Moving on. When supply increases in a greater proportion than demand. So now demand, supply at a greater proportion. Excess supply, price will fall. But since both are rising, quantity will rise. You see price has fallen from P to P1. See, price has fallen from P to P1, but quantity has risen. This is it. This is it. Sir, what are you saying? Is this all about this chapter? Yes. A brilliant question. I am a big fan of Institute for giving this question. Let's discuss this. It will clear cut all the concepts. See, D1 and S1 are the OG demand and supply. See, Institute also has to use the word OG. This is the OG supply curve. This is the OG demand curve. So this is the OG equilibrium point 1, right? This is the OG equilibrium point 1. So equilibrium is achieved now. Now let's see what they are asking. Assuming X is a normal good, okay. So we are assuming that the demand and supply curve, that the OG demand and supply curve that we are seeing here is for the regular commodity. Okay, it's okay. It's good, understood. Now, holding everything else constant, okay. Assume that income rises. So when there is a rise in income, quantity demanded rises. So there is a rightward shift. So we are at D2, right? And the price of factor of production also increases. Oh my God. If price of factors rises, then quantity supplied falls. So as far as supply is concerned, we are shifting towards the left, right? So when we are shifting towards the left, we are moving to S3. What point is most likely to represent the new point? So D2 and S3, where are they intersecting? At point 2, you see, S3 and D2. Yes, sir, at point 2. At point 2, they are intersecting. At point 2, they are intersecting. So guess what? Point 2 will be our answer. Where is it? Point 2. MCQ question answered. Wow, sir. Let's move on to the next question. Again, back to the OG condition. D1 and S1. Back to the OG condition. Now, We are analyzing the market for good Z. The price of a complement good Y declines. Okay, so if price of complement declines, then the demand for good Z will definitely increase. There will be a rightward shift to D2. I have highlighted D2. Now, at the same time, there is a technological advancement in the production of good Z. Okay, so supply will also rise because technology has improved. So we move to S2. Okay, which point represents this? Where are D2 and S2 intersecting? At point 7. Point 7 would be my answer. Let's see. Yes, sir, you are correct. Wow, sir, wow. Just amazing. Moving on. Heavy rains in Maharashtra caused havoc with the rice crop. So if the climate was not suitable, supply will fall. So there will be a leftward shift from supply curve, and therefore we will move towards S3. That is a leftward shift from S1. What point in the figure is most like to? So there is no change in demand whatsoever. Demand is the OG D1. So now D1 and S3 are intersecting at 3. So answer would be 3. Let's see whether we are correct. Yes, sir, we are indeed correct. Let's move on to the fourth and the last question. Assume that consumers expect price of new cars to significantly increase next year. Okay, consumers expect price to increase next year. What point would likely to be assumed? See, consumers are expecting. So consumers will increase demand today. So there will be a rise in demand D1 to D2. But there is no change in supply because producers are not expecting anything. It's the consumers who are expecting change. So from D1 there is a change to D2, but S1 remains the same. So they are intersecting at 5. 5 would be my answer. Guess what, guys? We have been able to complete unit 2 as well. Sir, was it this easy? Definitely yes.